Hey, everybody. Welcome. I'm Ronald Pruitt, president and founder of 4aGoodCause. Appreciate you being here. If you want to say hello and kind of where you're from in the chat, feel free to do that. I'll get us started there. Welcome to our latest office hours. These are webinars where we share what's new in 4aGoodCause and drill down into topics that can help your fundraising run more smoothly. This quarter, we worked on a lot of security and stability updates, and I'll go over those. I'll also go over some things that are kind of newer in 4aGoodCause. It's been a while since we've done one of these office hours webinars, so we'll do that. Stick around till the end. I will be dropping a kind of donor data security checklist kind of resource for you, so stick around till there. We'll certainly have time for questions, and this will be recorded. And I should get that out maybe tomorrow or the next day. So you have to step away. No big deal. April, Susie, Meg, thanks for being here. Good to see some familiar names. So thanks for being here. All right, let's just jump right in. We're going to talk about some things that are newer in 4aGoodCause. As I mentioned, we haven't done one of these office hours chats in a while. So I'll go through three things that I want to highlight that are a little newer in 4aGoodCause. We're going to look at some performance stats that from 2025. We kind of went through and looked at saw how our clients performed in 2025. So we'll take a look at that, and then we'll drill into these security updates that I'm talking about and go over some best practices on how you can keep your donor data secure. I should also note, if you've been to one of these before, you're like, where's Steve? Steve, our lead developer, is normally on with me, but I'm flying solo today. Steve had other things going on, so you've just got me. So let's jump into these three items here on the top of this list: the peer-to-peer fundraising engagement emails, our new AI writers, and we'll talk a little bit about DAFpay as well. Just kind of mention some newer things that we haven't talked about in an office hours session from the last time that we met. So let's start with the peer-to-peer fundraising engagement emails. So a lot of our clients do use our platform to run peer-to-peer fundraising campaigns. It's where somebody's building a page, with their picture and their story of why they support you and sharing that with friends and family. And what we wanted to do is get those people that are fundraising for you more engaged in the campaign, to keep them engaged with their page, and so that they will continue to share that page and really celebrate them that they are raising money for you. So we added some engagement emails that will go out automatically from the system during a peer-to-peer campaign. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to go over to my email. We'll take a look at this. So I'm in my email currently. I'm going to click on this one here. You've got a new donation. So one of the types of emails that we will send to your peer-to-peer fundraisers is anytime a donation comes to their page, we will send them an email. And this obviously is from our little demo account, Bruce Wayne Bat Sanctuary. And it will tell them, hey, you just received a gift. Here's the amount. If the donor has chosen not to be anonymous, we can pass that name along. We'll show them where they are against their goal. And we encourage them to keep that momentum going, and they can go out and visit their page and continue to share that. So that's one email that will come out. And then the other emails that will come out are kind of goal progress emails. Like this one, you've reached 50% of your goal. We will send a goal progress email at 25%, 50%, and 100%. All the while encouraging them, to keep it going, keep sharing their page. You're doing great. It's all about celebrating them and keeping them engaged in the campaign. And we did some other peer-to-peer kind of updates behind the scenes, but this is one of the major things that I wanted to highlight. We see some of our best conversion rates on donation pages from peer-to-peer campaigns. Donors do tend to give more and more often when a friend asks them to do that. So I certainly encourage you to do peer-to-peer campaigns with us, and encourage you to turn these engagement emails on. And if you're inside editing a campaign, this option is under landing page. When you enable peer-to-peer, you still set your goal, you still set a story that you want the peer-to-peer fundraiser to tell for you. But by default, these two notifications are on. Notifications when donations happen to the fundraisers, and progress to them as well. So something new there. The second thing that was in my list is our new AI writers. So these are present also inside your campaign editing. They're in various places when you are editing a donation page, the headline and the appeal that's going to go on that page. Or maybe when you are editing a thank you message that goes out. What you'll see here is a little button called Write with AI. If you click that, that will pop out some prompts. If you fill this in, then it will generate a message for you that you can copy and then drop here into the boxes in 4aGoodCause. Now, these AI writers, as you probably, if you've messed with AI before, you know this is meant to be first draft copy, not the absolute final thing. So it gives you a place to start if you're stuck and you just can't think of what to write, either on a page like a donation page with your headline, your appeal, or maybe some of the thank you messaging that is going out for one-time or recurring donors, or maybe even the print thank you letter that you could generate here in 4aGoodCause. And the prompts are a little different based on what you're doing. Very similar, you'll know similarities between them, but they're meant to generate things that work for that particular box that you're working on. The third thing is I wanted to look at, where am I? Here I am. I want to look at DAFpay. Now, we recently did a whole webinar about DAFpay right after we rolled this out, but I think it's important enough to mention again here in our office hours session. DAFpay is another payment method that has been enabled. And as long as you're 501c3, you have a EIN that's registered with Candid, this is something that's available to you. And just to remind you how this works, it just appears as another payment method. The donor would choose this, and then they would be able to pay you out of their donor advised fund. So they can choose either a monthly or a one-time gift. They would click to continue to DAFpay. This would pop up a little window for them. They would click continue. They would choose where their DAF is located. And if you're unfamiliar with DAF, it's basically a charitable account that you have set up, somewhere at Fidelity or Schwab, your local bank. There's lots of kind of DAF providers. And then you get an immediate tax benefit for creating that account. And then you're able to make charitable gifts out of that account. So this DAFpay allows you to slide that money over from your DAF. And the only place you can move money out of a DAF is to a 501c3 charity, to make a donation, to make a donation grant. So this DAFpay allows you to easily do that, to select where it is, whether it's Fidelity, and then I would log in. It would tell me my how much money I have in that account, and then I can click to confirm that gift, and then the donor will come back to 4aGoodCause. We will send our email receipt. It'll be recorded as a donation for a good cause, just like it would be if it was a debit credit card, bank transfer, donation, or anything like that. So this is certainly something that I think you should be promoting to donors, maybe on a ways to give page. If you have, listing out all the ways that people can give to you, whether it's donate online with a credit card, send us a check, make a stock gift, donor advised fund would be another way you might want them to pay you. And now it's something that you can enable right on your donation form. And this is something that is growing across the nonprofit community. This is very popular. It's one of the fastest kind of segments of giving right now, and certainly something that you want to take advantage of. And on 4aGoodCause, we're making it really easy for donors. All right, let me go back here. If you did not have an opportunity to come to our recent webinar, I'm going to drop a link to that in the chat for you. This is something that you can go take a look at any time. We go into depth with our partner on DAFpay. It's a company called Chariot. We go into depth about kind of how to market DAFs, when, who's creating DAFs, and how to market to them, how to get donations from them, and then how DAFpay works. So certainly encourage you to check that out if you have not already. All right, so just three little things there that maybe we haven't talked about on office hours that I wanted to mention before. The next thing that I want to jump into is there's a lot of things that we track on 4aGoodCause. We have kind of a big kind of stats dashboard for myself and Steve and the rest of the team. And I just wanted to share some of that data with you. This is the first time we've done an office hours here in 2026. And we spent some time looking at how the platform performed in 2025, and I want to share some of that with you. So some of the things that we look at are average gift sizes and conversion rates on the 4aGoodCause pages. If you haven't noticed, in 4aGoodCause, when you're looking at your campaigns, if you just click that row, you can get to a little dashboard that will show you statistics on your page, and it'll show you things like average gift sizes for that campaign. It will show you conversion rates for the pages on that campaign. So we've kind of taken all that data and accumulated it here to kind of look broadly at the platform, and just really excited about what it shows. And we're really across the board when we compare 4aGoodCause to kind of the industry benchmark, which is a study called the M+R benchmark study. 4aGoodCause is performing really well. So our clients and the pages that they're using on 4aGoodCause are performing really well for them. So we're seeing, average one-time gift sizes more than double the industry benchmark. Same for recurring, $55 versus $24. The pages are converting really well across the platform, while the industry average is 11%. So that means 89 out of 100 donors, once they already get into a donation form, will abandon that gift for many reasons. And I'll share a link in the chat. We did a whole webinar on that. For many reasons, they will leave, from friction, confusion, frustration, fear. There's a lot of reasons why they will abandon a form. On 4aGoodCause, we're converting at 27%, so almost 2.5 times the industry average. And half of the donation pages on 4aGoodCause have gotten almost a 50% conversion rate. So 4.36 times the national average. Now, conversion rates, they vary by campaign. They vary by your message. They vary by the types of donors that you're going to reach. But the pages themselves, the 4aGoodCause pages, I've been building donation forms for over 25 years, and there's a lot of best practices in this. So from a technology perspective, from a user friendliness and kind of how the pages are structured, all those best practices are built in. You don't have to worry about that. You can focus on your message and how you want to communicate to donors. And with the right message at the right time, these pages will convert really well for you, and you'll find you're getting larger gift sizes than what's typical out there. We had one client, Tony's Kitchen, that their end of year donation page converted at a 71% clip. So the right message at the right time, these pages will really convert for you. And I was super excited when we crunched all these numbers and put this together. So I wanted to share that here. One other stat that popped out to me was how well our monthly giving conversion pop-up offer is performing. So in 2025, looking at the year as a whole, it converted on a 5% clip. So 5 out of every 100 donors that chose one time were convinced by the pop-up to convert to recurring. So they chose one of the recurring offers that was presented on the pop-up. The way it works is we will present the pop-up between a $5 donation and a $500 donation. And then we will divide by 5, divide by 4 to present the offer. So like a $100 gift would present a $20 offer per month and a $25 offer per month. And so 5 out of every 100 donors who saw that was automatically converting over to monthly. That's super valuable, to you guys as clients, because really that one little feature can pay for 4aGoodCause if it's working that well for you. I've done some math on this. If you had 100 donors giving $100 each, on a one-time basis, but 5 of them decided to move over to recurring at $25 a month, you're earning an extra $5,000 from that campaign over the lifetime of those donors. As a recurring donor, typically you'll see about a 40x lifetime value from how much they're giving you per month. And that doesn't take into account if you're doing great stewardship or can keep them on for the longer than what the typical, monthly giver stays on for. So this is another thing we wanted to share. We're just seeing great results. We hope you are too. If you are, we'd love to kind of hear stories and hear what you're seeing in terms of how 4aGoodCause is performing. We're always looking for case studies and things of that nature. Okay. Let's jump into the security updates that we did this quarter. Every once in a while, 4aGoodCause, we just have to kind of do the boring work, of making the site secure, stable. Every once in a while, we have to do a big platform upgrade or, roll out a new feature to make sure that we're keeping with modern standards and doing everything possible to keep your data safe and secure. So that's really what we were focused on late last year into this first quarter. You probably have seen some of this, and I'll demonstrate a couple of these things here, but it starts with two-factor authentication. So now when you log in as a nonprofit user, it will send a code to your email, and you'll enter that, and that will log you into the platform. We've got new ways of inviting users. So I'll demonstrate that here in just a second, but it's basically that you're not creating a password for folks. You're just inviting them, and they're setting their password and logging themselves in. So it's more secure, and it's a little easier both for you and the user. We're about to roll out invisible CAPTCHA. So we've been protecting you from bots with the reCAPTCHA tool for many years. But we decided, hey, we finally had some time to move into the invisible CAPTCHA, and that should roll out next week. And just to show you, if I go back, hold on here. I'll wait till I share my screen again, but I can show you that. We did a complete platform upgrade. Every couple of years, we have to upgrade the entire operating system of 4aGoodCause. That's the language that it's written on. So, we spent a whole month doing that, and that gets us more power, more stability, faster pages, more security. It just brings a lot of benefits when we do that. So we've been doing that. And then if you've been on these office hours webinars before, I've always kind of passed it over to Steve to talk about logging and monitoring, and we just do so much of that on the back end. Every single transaction, every single interaction in the platform is logged, and it gives us the ability to really dive into that stuff when we need to do customer support. And we've added even more to that this quarter, with some more specific kind of security monitoring services that we're subscribed to now. Just makes it a lot easier for us to do patches and all kind of great stuff. So kudos to Steve for bringing that to the table for us. So we're very excited about that. Just want to kind of briefly show you a couple of these things here. So let me share my screen again. And I'm gonna go back into the donation page we were onto for the DAFpay. And you'll see, when I get down to the end here, there's no little box you check for the CAPTCHA. We've just got the invisible CAPTCHA there in the corner. That's gonna reduce friction on the pages that you have with us, and hopefully maybe drive those really great conversion rates that we already have. I'd love to, on average across the platform, top over 30%. That would be absolutely amazing. So that's one thing that's coming hopefully within the next week or two. And you've probably seen when you're logging in as a nonprofit user, and I'll do that now. This is the extra step that we have here now on the login. So it's going to send you a 6-digit code to your email. And go back over here to my email. And there that is. And I just copy that. And go back. And I'm in. So it's just another step. We just want to make sure, hey, that's you, that you have access to this email, and that's you. Inviting users. So that's still under settings, nonprofit users. This is where you can invite someone. So you just click invite user. You'll fill in their email, their first name, last name, organization name there. Let's invite someone here. Guy at 4aGoodCause.com into my demo account here. It's not a real person, obviously. And we'll click to invite. And you'll see it says that that person is pending confirmation. So if I go back to my email, and this is what your users will see. So Ron Pruitt has invited you to 4aGoodCause. Hey, guy. And all that person has to do is click join account. And I'm going to copy that link just to go to another browser here. And then it will send them to a page where they set their password. This is another part of our security updates is, new password requirements, longer, use multiple characters up to, at least more than 12, uppercase, lowercase, special characters if you want to. And when they set their password, then they're logged in. And then the next time they come, they'll obviously have to verify themselves. One cool thing, if a donor does not, as I refresh, you see a guy is out now active, but I did send one earlier to Bill, and Bill did not, confirm, did not join the account. You always have the ability to resend that join email, and those emails do last about 6 hours or so. They do time out for security purposes, so you do have the ability to resend that email to anybody who's still pending. You also have the ability to remove anybody, even if they're in pending state. And there's a lot of security rules that kind of go with this setup, but this should be easier for you. No one has to touch passwords. You don't have to tell passwords, say, hey, I set you up and here's your password. You just invite them. So it should be easier for you. Okay. So a lot of this work is behind the scenes, but just know that 4aGoodCause is doing everything to keep your donor data safe on the platform. Next, I want to think a little broader for you, and I want to offer a checklist that you can take with you, because 4aGoodCause is not the only place that you have donor data. And that's, I'm going to walk you through 4 kind of things that you want to be thinking about. The checklist will have 10 things to walk you through. But let's start with thinking about where your donor data lives. As I say, 4aGoodCause is not the only place that you have donor data. You might have it in some email system, maybe in an accounting system. Maybe you've got spreadsheets that are on your computer or on a shared folder somewhere. A good exercise to keep yourself secure is to make a list of where do we have all of our donor data? What systems is it in? And then who is the owner of that data? Who has access to that system? Maybe there are data sitting somewhere that you've forgotten about, that if you don't need it, delete it. Maybe there's a tool that you forgot that you still are logged into. If you don't need it, remove, access to that. You want to just make sure that you understand where all your data lives. Because if you don't know where your data lives, then you're not protected from anything that might go wrong with where that data lives. And the first thing that you want to address once you know that is really the internal threat that you have to security. And when I say internal, that means employees, former employees, partners, those that are kind of in your inner circle. So this is really about keeping your logins safe. So 4aGoodCause has got the 2-step sign-in. Do you have that turned on for other systems, like your email system or some other system that you have? Make sure that you do that. Every user to all your systems should have their own login. Don't share logins. That can be very tricky, because if I'm sharing a login with someone else and they're calling me to get this code that they need to log in, do I really know it's them? Did they just email me? Do I really know it's them? Am I giving a code away to somebody who, is pretending to be me to log in? Everybody should have their own login. You want to take a look at who has logins to any platform that you have. Make sure they're at the right access level. If they don't need access, don't add them. They don't have to be there if they don't absolutely have to be there. And the biggest thing that I have seen is when someone leaves your organization, and as we all know, there is turnover in the nonprofit employment space. When someone leaves your organization, delete their logins to any system that you have. Just like you would take away their badge from the building, do it for any systems that you have. I have found 4aGoodCause users that I've had to remove because I know they don't work there anymore. So make sure that you are looking at access to all your systems and who has access, and do they have the right access. The number one external threat that you have, maybe from folks outside the organization, is phishing attacks. This is really how most of the time you're going to have some sort of data breach. And a phishing attack is when someone calls you, emails you, and asks you for some type of sensitive information. Maybe they're pretending to be someone you know. They're asking for your login code, your bank account, your password, and that message, that email, boy, it seems urgent. There is something wrong. Your billing is bad. Your site is down. Something is wrong. And they're trying to urgently get you to pass that information to you. the first thing that you can really do is just slow down. Don't immediately react to the urgency. And then don't immediately react in the way maybe that they want you to. If you feel there is anything off about the message, about the phone call, put that message away, hang up the phone, go back to your systems and log in the way you always do. Go through your normal login process. Call support in the way that you normally would, like here, support at 4aGoodCause.com. Go through your normal channels, because they may be giving you a link that takes you to a dummy website that they're just going to be listening for that password or that code or something like that. So go through your normal channels. Basically confirm something that seems off in a new phone call, a new thread outside of that particular message before you click on anything, before you respond to somebody over the phone. Basically just slow down and you typically should be okay. So internal threats are really, oh man, where are all our logins? And external is like, okay, someone's coming at me. This seems a little weird. I'm just going to slow down and I'm going to confirm this in some other way. I also want to note, one of the big things that can happen in nonprofits is fake donations and refund scams. So this is maybe not so much about keeping your donor data safe, but it's also about keeping your entity safe from people that are coming at you for different things here. So, you got to protect yourself from spam on your pages. And as I mentioned, we're doing that through the caption. That's going to become invisible next week. So it'll just, no more boxes to check, but we will continue to be monitoring that. I also recommend, if you are an authorized.net user, to turn on and configure the advanced fraud detection suite. If you are unsure how to configure that, if we have not done that for you, which we are absolutely happy to do that for you, I'll put a link here in the chat to our help guide on that. Authorized.net has got some great fraud filters, from checking addresses to looking at how many times a transaction is coming from the same computer within the same hour. There's lots of rules that you can put in place to protect your donation form from spam attempts. And certainly something that's important, because spam attempts, they hit your processor. You might be incurring, a flat, 10-cent fee, maybe from the gateway to try that particular transaction. And I should note, we have a really great webinar on this. Let me drop a link to that too. We did a webinar with somebody from Visa who owns authorized.net. And we talk a lot about fraud protection and things on the payment processing side. So that's also a good resource for you. Another thing that happens to nonprofits really too often really is you got to watch out for refund scams. And I know a couple clients that have called us asking about things like this when they've had something weird happen. And how this basically works is, donor gives online. They're using a card that they shouldn't have. They give let's say they give $1,000, and then they, maybe they pass all the fraud security checks. They know the address. They know the zip code on the card. They know everything. They know the card security code. They actually have it in hand, They give $1,000 off that card, and then they contact you and say, "Oh my goodness, I gave $1,000 and I meant to give 100. Can you please refund that $900? And what they'll tell you, and what you want to watch for, is they'll say, "Well, can you refund that to this other card? Or can you send me a check to this address and make it out to this person?" So they're just trying to run money off that card and have you pay that out. You can easily avoid this by making sure that you have rules in place for who's going to control refunds, who approves this, what the process is. And the process that you want to stick to is always refund back to the original payment method. So in your gateway, like Authorize.net or Stripe, you easily can find that original transaction and refund it directly back to the original card. Don't ever refund out to something else. So just a few little things here. You want to know where your data is. You want to keep your logins safe, audit that, watch out for phishing scams, and watch out for refund and bots that are coming after you. I'm going to drop a resource to our donor data security checklist here. It'll be here on the right under the handouts tab. I certainly encourage you to download that. Just 10 steps you can go through. And these are simple things, but if you don't think about them every day and you're not looking at it every day, then this is definitely something that you want to go through. And I would say once a quarter, once every 6 months, go through this and say, okay, do we know where all our logins are? Does everybody have the right access? Do we know where the data is? Where are we storing our spreadsheets? When we download stuff, are we deleting that on a regular basis? Just where is the data? And so I hope this is useful for us. We certainly would welcome any feedback from you. Any questions before I talk about what we're working on next here at 4aGoodCause? Looks like you guys are going to make this really easy on me today. All right, so what are we working on next? We always build things on what we call milestones. We're currently on milestone 71. So since like 2017, we've dropped 71 big batches of feature drops. And there's little things in between, but the milestones are big feature drops. So we're always working on something here. And the next couple of things that we're working on, the next milestone will be, we're going to give you the ability to make some changes on your donation forms in the little personal information section. Mainly what we're going for there is the ability for you to hide physical address and streamline your donation form. A lot of times the address, asking for an address or a zip code, it's not really an indicator, if they don't have that correct, a fraud. You can process without it. You've got the other protections in there for that. So it's a way that you can streamline your form and become really fully taking sort of electronic donations where you're just asking for name, phone, email. So we're going to give you the ability to do that. There'll be some other little configurations maybe in that section as well. And we're kind of doing this in anticipation of kind of the next big rollout of functionality for us is we are going to be building a kind of a pop-up layover version of our donation forms. So right now the donation forms function as standalone pages that you link to. And obviously there's a lot of benefits to that. Our conversion rates show that. They're isolated pages and convert really, really well for you. But we're going to be adding another way that you can link to these pages, and that will be sort of a pop-up layover so that you can basically put a button on your website and that will pop up that modal above your website. So we'll still have all the same best practices in place. It'll still be an isolated process. It'll still be a one-step giving process, but it'll just give you another way that you can show that. We certainly have had requests from time to time as, hey, is there something that I can launch on my website? And so what we're thinking going forward is this might be a great way to display your everyday giving page. And then when you're doing special campaigns, end of year, big events and things like that, that's all you want to drive people from your emails and social media postings and drive all that into the standalone page version. Because that's ready for quick conversion. You don't want to send them to your website and then make you figure out where to click a button to launch that modal. The modal we think is great for everyday giving, and that's kind of the next big thing that we'll roll out. So always working on something here. We obviously want your feedback. If there's something that you think we ought to be working on, we want to hear from you. If you've got campaigns you want to share that you're finding success with for a good cause, we want to hear from you. If things are not working well, you want to brainstorm with us, I'm always happy to schedule chats with you. So let us know what's going on. We want to hear from you, and we'll respond. We are always trying to meet the needs of our clients. Any final questions? Anything? I'm happy to answer them. I just want to really appreciate you dropping in on our office hours. Really appreciate you being a client of For a Good Cause, and appreciate what you're doing in your community. Hope you see you at the next one of these. We'll be doing an office hours in April. And then tomorrow we'll be promoting our next kind of guest speaker webinar. And this is going to be on the topic of AI. So I think that was going to be well attended. We're going to kind of be taking you from, I'm using ChatGPT, maybe not getting a lot out of it, to how you can really use it strategically for your nonprofit. So thanks, everybody, and we'll see you next time.